It was one of those afternoons in Maplewood where the sun hung lazily in the sky, casting long shadows across the quiet streets. The kind of day where nothing much ever happened, and people went about their business without a care in the world. I was sitting on my porch, sipping a cup of coffee, enjoying the peace and quiet, when I saw the flashing lights of a police car down the street. My heart sank. It wasn't unusual to see cops around here, but something about this felt different. There was a tension in the air, a heaviness that made my stomach twist. I stood up, my curiosity getting the better of me, and walked closer to see what was going on. That's when I saw her. Officer Linda Harris, a woman in her late 30s with a no-nonsense attitude and a reputation for being tough. She had her hand on her hip, her other hand resting on the holster of her gun, as if she was ready for anything. In front of her stood a young black teenager, maybe 16 or 17, his hands raised in surrender. His name was Marcus, a kid I'd seen around the neighborhood. He was quiet, kept to himself, and always had his nose in a book. Seeing him like this, with fear in his eyes, felt wrong. It felt like the world had tilted off its axis. I didn't do anything, Marcus pleaded, his voice shaking. I was just walking home. Officer Harris didn't seem convinced. You match the description of a suspect we're looking for, she said firmly, her voice cutting through the air like a knife. I need you to come with me. I could see the fear in Marcus's eyes, the way his shoulders tensed, the way his breath hitched. He looked around, hoping someone would step in, but the small crowd that had gathered just stood there, watching. My stomach churned. I wanted to say something, to do something, but I didn't know what. I felt helpless, like I was stuck in a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. As Officer Harris handcuffed Marcus and led him to the squad car, I noticed a man running down the street. He was tall, with a commanding presence, and he looked furious. It was Marcus's dad, David. I'd seen him around too, always dressed in a suit, always in a hurry. But today, he wasn't in a suit. He was in jeans and a t-shirt, and he looked like a man on a mission. Stop, David shouted, his voice booming, echoing down the street. That's my son. Officer Harris turned, her expression hardening. Sir, step back. This is police business. David didn't back down. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a badge, holding it up for everyone to see. I'm David Carter, CIA, and you're making a huge mistake. The crowd gasped. Even Officer Harris looked stunned. She hesitated, her grip on Marcus loosening slightly. CIA? She repeated, as if she couldn't believe it. Yes, David said, his voice steady but filled with emotion. And my son is not a criminal. He's a straight-A student, a good kid. You're arresting him because of what? A description? Do you even have proof? Officer Harris glanced at Marcus, then back at David. For the first time, I saw doubt flicker across her face. She uncuffed Marcus, her hands trembling slightly. I'm sorry, she stammered. I was just doing my job. David stepped forward, his eyes blazing with a mix of anger and relief. Your job is to protect and serve, not to assume and accuse. My son could have been hurt, or worse, because of your assumptions. Do you understand that? The crowd was silent, the weight of the moment hanging in the air like a storm cloud ready to burst. Marcus rubbed his wrists, his eyes downcast. He looked embarrassed, humiliated, like the world had betrayed him. My heart ached for him. No kid should have to go through that. No one should have to go through that. Officer Harris nodded slowly, her face pale. I'll make sure this doesn't happen again, she said quietly, her voice barely above a whisper. David put a hand on Marcus's shoulder, pulling him close. Let's go home, son, he said softly, his voice filled with a father's love and protectiveness. Marcus nodded, and they walked away together, leaving the rest of us to process what had just happened. As I watched them go, I couldn't help but feel a mix of emotions. Relief that Marcus was safe, anger at how quickly things could go wrong, and a deep sadness for the world we live in. It was a reminder that, even in a small town like Maplewood, where everyone knows everyone, prejudice and fear can still take hold. It was a reminder that the color of someone's skin could still dictate how they were treated, even when they had done nothing wrong. That day stayed with me. It wasn't just about Marcus or his dad. It was about all of us, how we see each other, how we treat each other. It made me wonder, if David hadn't been there, if he hadn't been a CIA agent, would things have ended differently? Would Marcus have been just another statistic, another name added to a long list of injustices? I don't know the answer, but I do know this. That day changed me. It made me see the world a little differently, and it made me realize that sometimes standing up for what's right is the most important thing we can do. Even if it's just from the sidelines. Even if it's just by bearing witness. Because in the end, it's not just about one kid or one cop or one dad. It's about all of us and the kind of world we want to live in, and that's something worth fighting for. As the days passed, I couldn't shake the image of Marcus standing there, his hands raised, his eyes filled with fear. I thought about David, running down the street, his voice filled with a father's desperation. I thought about Officer Harris, her face pale, her hands trembling as she realized the gravity of her mistake. And I thought about the crowd, standing there silent watching, as if we were all complicit in some way. It made me realize that change doesn't happen overnight. It's not just about one moment or one person. It's about all of us, coming together, standing up for what's right, even when it's hard, even when it's uncomfortable. Because in the end, it's not just about Marcus or David or Officer Harris. It's about the kind of world we want to leave behind for our children. And that's something worth fighting for. Hey everyone, if this story moved you, if it made you think, or if it reminded you why we need to keep having these conversations, please take a moment to like this video. It really helps spread awareness. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment below. Have you ever witnessed or experienced something like this? Let's talk about it. And if you believe stories like this deserve to be told, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're here to share real, powerful stories that need to be heard. Lastly, share this with your friends and family. The more people who see this, the more we can bring awareness and change. Thank you for watching and being part of this journey. Let's keep pushing forward, together.